name is Jen Scott, founding partner of Hustle in Heels. We are a business training and support community for business owners. We work with local government authorities, designing and delivering business support programs, as well as supporting women-led businesses, predominantly lifestyle businesses, helping them to start off in the right way and ensure that they achieve success.
Cool. So, Jen, I guess I've probably known you for about 5, maybe 6 years, right?
Yeah.
But I'm struggling to remember where we met or how we met.
Oh, that is a good one. I actually can't remember. No, I was going to say my runway group bit, but I think you were telling us about that rather than us having met there. But actually, yeah, I can't remember.
All right. Cool.
Let's think about that.
Yeah. So, I guess from when we've met, I've always made it clear to you that I'm a fan of what you do and what Jay does, because I'm a very black and white person. I either really like someone or I'm just kind of indifferent. And one of the things that struck me about you guys when I first met you was that just your professionalism and I guess you always have this clarity in terms of what you're achieving. So if you start from the beginning in terms of Jen as a child, to describe that to me.
Yeah, good one. And I love the fact that you actually say that I had this clarity, because in my head it's just like chaos most of the time, but I'm glad that it presents as clarity and I know what I'm doing. I suppose I do in a way, but as a child, very creative, very expressive, the drama queen, some might say.
That's never come across.
Really? Yeah, no, I'm always, doing the most. But yeah, just growing up in a very creative family. My grandma used to paint, my older sisters used to make clothes. And that's, I think, what really started my love for fashion. Seeing them sort of wear these creations that they had been making, saving away at a sort of sewing machine. So I thought I could do the same and was never as good. So I was only ever allowed to wear my creations to grandma's on Sunday to dinner. But always, just kind of trying to fix things and make them better. One of our sort of pastimes with my dad, he, sort of tradesman, he would give us some hammers and a nail and a plank of wood and be like, right, go in the garden and just, make something. So it was always very practical. In terms of the things that I remember doing as a child, and that's kind of the way I used to express myself. And I guess it's just continued through life. It's me.
So would you say that not much has changed in terms of the childhood Jen and the adult Jen? Not
much, no. And it's really funny because I'll often sort of catch up with people who may have looked after me or, sit down and reminisce with, like the elders about how I was or, just kind of hear stories and they're pretty much like, that's Jen. It's pretty much the same.
Cool. So just go over again, how would you describe in short what you do in particular?
So within Hustle in Heels, I, sort of oversee the day-to-day running of the business. We have two sides of the business. So one side is a sort of consultancy side where we work, as I said, with local government authorities, helping them to design and deliver business support programs. In the pandemic, as we know, a lot of high street businesses in particular were struggling. And, they decided that they wanted to put together training and support and, sort of provide access to resources and experts that they necessarily couldn't. So we essentially came into what we did in the sort of startup world and began to put programs together where we were looking at how we could engage these high street independent businesses, helping them to better understand their local community. Often businesses have been passed on through generations, they haven't really evolved or adapted, so they've been doing the same old thing. They know how to kind of keep the doors open essentially, but in terms of marketing, in terms of understanding how to adapt and pivot to the new needs of the consumer, they haven't really got that. And then you've got these big sort of multiples coming in on the high street that they're seeing as big threats, but actually when we work with them to understand that they have something very unique that a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's or whoever doesn't have, and it's about understanding what that is and helping to reconnect the community on that level. That's how we've been able to sort of have the success we've had in the sort of consultancy world, I guess, taking that sort of entrepreneurial spin into sort of what we do.
Right.
And then on the other side of that, building the community. I often say by accident, we hadn't realised, I guess, the need for business support for women-led businesses.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were just really trying to quite selfishly solve problems that we were facing trying to start businesses. You know, having access to experts, having access to, you know, the answers or a safe space to ask those seemingly silly questions.
Yeah.
So we decided to create it through Hustle and Heels, and, you know, other women just kept coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. So, yeah, those are the two sides of the business, supporting the community, so women-led lifestyle businesses to really sort of take those ideas and transform them into successful businesses, but also the consultancy side with local authorities, helping them to sort of engage their independent businesses and for them to sort of thrive and rebuild post-pandemic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a great name. Who came up with it?
Probably me.
Okay.
Probably me, and I was like, Jay, I think this is what we are going to go for. But it really just, for me, kind of summed up the journey in terms of like the hustle, the hard work that we're putting in, but also acknowledges the fact that, you know, we're very much about achieving this, you know, the lifestyle, the heels, the house, the family, the car, the, you know, everything else that I suppose aesthetically people sort of, you know, attribute to success. That could be whatever it is for anyone, but, you know, the heels was our way of sort of defining or putting a name on the lifestyle side of the aspect. But, you know, they both go hand in hand. You have to put the work in order to achieve and attain the lifestyle that you want, essentially. So that's how it came about.
Yeah. And then talk us through the transition of, because I guess you were full-time before?
Yeah.
So the transition from full-time working with someone else to working for yourself?
Yeah. That again was out of sort of frustration that I never felt I really fitted into the corporate world. Having graduated at the start of the first recession in 2008, and I remember one of the last things my lecturer said to us was good luck, basically. You know, like, you're out there on your own, you've got this degree, but so is everyone else now. You know, it's not a new shiny thing anymore, and you're really going to have to work hard, essentially. And I found myself in sort of jobs and in roles. So I studied business management and marketing, and sales was sort of the only area of an organisation that was typically hiring at that time, right? Everyone wanted to try and make money and to kind of get their way out of recession that way. And it just really wasn't what I wanted to do. I learned a lot, don't get me wrong. I think sales is such an important part of running a business, running, you know, building a brand. Even, you know, if we're talking about on an individual level, you have to know how to be able to communicate, sell, and, you know, just be able to let people know about what you do and share it with a level of passion that people are able to buy into. So I learned a lot, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. It didn't feel right. I lost that creative side. You know, the 9 to 5 just didn't fulfill me. So I always knew from a very early age that, you know, having a business and running that myself was something that I'd always do. And I always had something on the side. For university, we had a fashion brand of our own called Once Couture. We did like tours of universities. We actually did an off-schedule London Fashion Week show in 2008, I think that was. So yeah, there was always something happening on the side, and yeah, it just got to the point where, you know, I shut the back door, as they say, in terms of like there was no going back. And I said to myself, the only type of role that I was going to take on was an admin role that would allow me the ability to, you know, get a check, essentially. And I used to regard my job as my investor into my business, right? So I'd use that income to then build whatever it was I was doing at the time. But it also gave me that freedom to look busy while doing probably what I needed to do for my business. And it also meant that, you know, I wasn't aggressively climbing up the career ladder. And the, you know, being able to have that financial freedom has always been something that's a non-negotiable for me. And I knew that, you know, in a sort of an admin job where I wasn't necessarily progressing, I wasn't going to achieve that. So by having those positions, I always knew that this could never be it. And it was a short-term stop gap until, you know, the sort of next thing, but allowed me, as I said, to sort of build into what it was that I was trying to work on at the time to get to the next step.
Okay, cool. And you're incredibly confident. So I guess you come across that. So where does that stem from, that confidence that you use to fuel?
Yeah, that's such an interesting one. And I think if you ask my mum, she always refers back to our first ever Hustle in Heels event, and she said, I remember she goes, oh gosh, you were terrible, weren't you? And I was just like, right, okay, fantastic. But, you know, having to, I guess, talk to people and, you know, maintain their interest is something that I've had to learn along the way, just by sort of nature of what we do. It wasn't something that was intentional. I never set out to, you know, be this person that sort of speaks, leads, facilitates and, you know, sort of encourages people to live their best lives and, you know, achieve their dreams through business. But part and parcel of the job, and I had to quickly, you know, get comfortable with being that person who was, you know, up front and centre, talking and showing people how they could go about doing that. And not to say that I have and had all the answers, and I want to make that very clear, because Hustle in Heels is very much about, you know, it's a community of a community built by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, essentially. And we're still figuring it out. We're still, you know, trying to find the answers. But when we do find an answer to something, we're passing it back to the community. And it's a very sort of circular structure that we have in terms of sort of sharing knowledge and, you know, making sure that that insight that you have doesn't just stop with you. You pass it on to ensure that the other person's journey is not as hard or as difficult as the one that you've had to go through to get to where you are. And that is really the foundation of what we do. And part of that means you have to be a people's person, right? You have to be able to you relate, communicate effectively. And also, I guess, gain the trust from people, and especially black women. You know, typically we've all often been pitted against each other, and you know, told that we must keep our ideas to ourselves. And you know, looking at the Hustle and Heels community, and you know who those women are that make up that community, it couldn't be, you know, further from the truth. You know, these are amazing women that want nothing more than to see the other woman next to them win. And they're willing to, you know, build while building up others. And that's what, you know, we want to be able to achieve.
Yeah, cool. So like, how much in terms of percentage has the kind of community grown for Hustle in Heels over the past, well, since COVID? Yeah.
That's a really interesting one. So when we first started out, it was a table of 10, and now we have an online community of over 17,000.
Wow.
To be honest with you, a lot of the pandemic meant that we focused more on the consultancy side of the business.
Yeah, sure.
Because, you know, that was, you know, they were paying essentially, right? And we were able to then take that money back and sort of put that back into the community. But as a result of that, the community, in terms of like the offline events that we were more known for, we weren't able to do them. So it was, you know, building up sort of that online side of things that we've been doing, and you know, it has grown exponentially. We've you know, sort of gone outside of the UK, now we're international. We have people from Africa, the Caribbean attending sort of our online events, which is great. But the community are constantly asking us for these, you know, offline experiences. And you know, we're in the process now of figuring out how to do that. You know, needs have changed. You know, the way in which we you know, just even look at work-life balance and what that means, and even like in terms of success and what people are striving for now, it has really changed since going through the pandemic, you know, realising certain things, you know, having sort of mini awakenings of our own for each woman. It's, you know, been completely different, but we don't want to re-engage the community doing the same things we were doing before the pandemic, right? Because everything's different. So we've been spending a lot of time doing research. We've just wrapped up on a sort of big market research piece, understanding what, you know, the new needs of women in business are, women who are wanting to start a business are, and we're looking at building different products and services to go back out to them with. But yeah, it's been very sort of heavy consultancy side at the minute.
Yeah, I guess we've all had to pivot.
Yeah.
Because even for us, like, I spent probably 3 days panicking around about the time Boris made his announcement.
Yeah.
And then after a few days, I realised it wasn't going to be so bad. And I actually enjoyed lockdown because I just got to slow down.
Yeah.
Now, would you say that your personal life has adapted a bit since lockdown, and certain things you still kept going?
Yes, I think after the panic, like you mentioned, when we heard that, I literally thought the world was going to end. And I was like, yeah, this is it. So I think for me, the way I dealt with that was putting structure in place, right? So I established like a morning routine. So, I would get up, I would, give thanks for 10 things I was grateful for. I would rewrite my goals every day so I had a clear focus. I would then do sort of 30 minutes of exercise. I have a love-hate relationship with exercise, but 30 minutes is about the most I can do for the day. And then I would begin my day. And although I guess I didn't have to, because the days were endless, right? In the pandemic, for me, that is what really kind of kept the focus going. Even if I didn't feel my best, or I didn't feel like I had the answers or knew what I needed to be doing for that day, I had that structure, that morning routine that made sure I had achieved something throughout the day, and that stuck with me. So I still get up and I do that every day. I think that's really kind of helped to keep the focus and just to keep that balance, really.
Okay, cool. Let's move in topic slightly. What's your heritage?
So Caribbean, my mum is from a small island called Anguilla, and my dad is from Barbados.
Okay, so can you speak either of the languages?
So it's more of an accent, and I'm terrible. I can't understand my cousins for the life of me, and they're just like, you're useless, basically.
Right.
But yeah, no.
And how about food-wise? Do you cook any of the food? Or?
Caribbean traditionally, got your rice and peas, your chicken, and whatnot. And I stopped eating meat a couple of years ago.
Oh, really?
I didn't know on the morning of the day that I stopped eating meat I was going to, but my friend who was vegan just like, you don't need chicken anymore, just have chickpeas instead. And ever since, I've just not eaten meat. I don't miss it. I think I was going off it, but yeah, so no meat and no dairy. But my husband, he still eats meat, so yeah, I definitely have to, throw it in every now and again. He's Congolese. I haven't learnt the dishes yet, but that's definitely something that I've got to do for sure. But he loves whatever I put down in front of him.
Awesome. I guess I just wanted to say congratulations because you got married in February.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, tell us about that.
That was a whirlwind experience, only because we just bought a house and we hadn't. In our minds, we were going to get married once we kind of settled down and sort of figured out this whole new homeowner. What we'd entered into. But the day we sort of told his mum that we had got the house, she said, "Oh, well, Janine can't move in until you're married." So what? Just bought a house, I just can't live there. But yeah, I decided that, okay, I'm going to do this. I think you have to pick your battles, right? And, my mother-in-law is absolutely amazing. And, I decided that that's what I was going to do. So as a result, we had to get married as quickly as we possibly could. Yeah. And, we had, I think, about 2 months to organise a wedding that was meant to be for 70 people, but ended up being for like 270. But it was amazing. And, I got to move in on the 2nd week of February.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, I think we took like a year to plan our wedding, because the thing is, as a guy, you think about the proposal, but you don't think about the wedding. So yeah, we got married a year to the day after we got engaged, and it was hard enough planning a wedding within a year, let alone 2 months. 2 months.
Like, we're both very, very organised, and we, organise events for fun with Hudson Hill. So I think and it was really weird actually, because everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, like, how are you getting on? Are you not worried?" And we kind of had to check ourselves and say, look, have we missed something? But everything, and even the wedding was running ahead of time. For our host and our DJ, they were like, this doesn't ever happen. Everything is normally like 2-3 hours over. But we were like, we were ready for the food like an hour before it was due to come out. It was, everything, run perfectly. So it was an amazing day.
Oh, great. So, like, going back to like your career, the goals that you set for yourself. If I was to ask you what does making it look like, what would you say that is, according to
it's such a big question, and one that not that I struggle with, but I feel I think there's so many different parts to Jen and what she wants, and I'm an avid believer that you can have it all, just not at the same time, right? Yeah. And it's just what thing you're going to focus on and work on, to achieve the most. I think family for me is a very, 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 big thing, and making sure that we have the freedom to be able to, make sure that the children have everything that they want and more. And not necessarily in terms of material things, I'm talking like experiences, access to things that we may never, have had as children ourselves. And, I think as business owners, having the flexibility to be able to be very present in the upbringing of your children's life, and to, for there not to be that disconnect is very, very important for me. Yeah. So success, really looks like having that ability to, work, maybe till 2 in the afternoon, and then spending the rest of the day with my family. Maybe working 3, days a week, and then spending the rest of the time with my family. And we're very intentional about making sure that we're putting in the, the sort of structures and the systems now to ensure that, when that does happen, that, we can do that successfully. Being able to travel, having houses in different parts of the world, property portfolios, like you name it. But I think, for us, it really begins with making sure that we've got the freedom to be able to do that. I absolutely love business and what I do, and would never want to, sort of stop that. But it has to work with the life that I want to be able to have as well, and family will have to come first in that.
Okay, so Jen, in terms of the topic on like gender equality, is it something that A, you believe in, and B, what does that look like to you?
This is one that me and my husband always get into. I don't think I quite have like defined my stance on it. I think that, and I don't know if that's because of, I've created my own opportunities, right? And I'm another believer that anybody and everybody can, if they're willing to do so. But, I suppose in the corporate world, I think it is, important. Women have so much to bring to the table, and need the support, the structures in place to enable them to do that on a level playing field. So, that absolutely. But I guess, as I said, from my own experiences as a business owner, a problem solver, I'll create my own. I guess, but I get that that's not the reality for everyone. But that's kind of where
Would you say that there's any kind of flaws in your character that you flip on its head to be a positive as well?
Yeah, I think for me, like operating from a level of excellence is something that I am it's a non-negotiable for me. I expect that from my team. I expect that from consultants or partners that we may work with. And if I wasn't so big on it, I don't think we would be where we are today. Being a woman, being a black woman, operating in a space that typically you don't see young people like me within. We have to be the best. And I think in anything that we do, that's always kind of been, something that has always been at the back of my mind. So for me, just going in and raising the bar, setting a new bar, is how we've been able to kind of navigate through, our own crazy world of, sort of business and entrepreneurship. And it's something that I'm very, very big on. My team will probably be like, Jen's a nightmare. But, if something's not right, we just got to do it again until it is. If it looks good, but it doesn't feel right, we're going to go again. As I said, for me, I think we just all have to operate from a level of excellence. And, I suppose that can be a good or bad thing, depending on who you're asking.
Okay. And when you were growing up, was there anybody, at least aside from family, who you kind of looked at and thought, they're at this stage I would want to be at?
I think I saw parts of different people's lives that I wanted to, that I loved. I always feel very inspired when I go to America. My older sister lives in Atlanta, and I'm like, wealth and success, and again, I'm not just talking about money, but the way that looks, the confidence, the way people carry themselves is, something I've not really seen here in abundance in the way that you do when, you're in America. And even Africa as well. We went to Nigeria and, everything that, all the lies we were told in the media about what Nigeria was going to be like. And going there and seeing the affluence, the confidence, it just, and that is the type of, thing I really want us to be able to see and have here. And I think that's why we go so hard on the community aspect of it, and everyone having that safe space to be the best version of themselves, right? And because I don't think I really saw that in the way I did in Africa and in America.
I mean, any names that you'd say that you pick bits of their personality out? And...
I mean, it would, like celebrities, of course, but it's what they present and what you see, right? You never get the whole picture. So I often sort of, try and avoid sort of naming names, but of course, like, you Michelle Obama, your Oprah Winfrey, like the way in which they, just carry themselves and, the success they have both achieved, the way Michelle is just, the love she has for her family and her husband unapologetically, like, that is, something that I really do look at and admire. Again, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors in anyone's life you don't have a personal relationship with, but those are some of the sort of outward things that, I definitely look at and think,
Did you go and see her at O2?
I didn't. I know.
My wife went there with their sister. So, they spoke highly of it.
I can imagine.
And like, thinking of, I guess this can be people that you know personally, who would you say is the most inspirational person, I guess, in your life?
Do you know, I have different people for different things. Like, in terms of patience, my mom, she is the most patient woman that I think I have ever met, and I really aspire to have that level of patience in both personal and business, where I want everything done yesterday, or I want everything done perfectly, like the second time maybe, and when it doesn't get like that, I get. So, but my mum just, and my grandma was the same, bless her. They had this patience about them that, I think I'm forever going to be trying to aspire to. There's in my friends, and my sister, there's so many things. My sister's a professional Muay Thai fighter. She has always been, quite big in weight. So at her heaviest, she was like size 20. But she got down to a size 8, fighting. And anyone that can get kicked and punched in the face is just, but just her resilience, the tenacity, the discipline is so inspirational to see. When she's in fight camp, which is typically like the weeks in the lead up to a fight, just the discipline is on a next level. I think I'm pretty good, right? But it's completely different, and that inspires me and motivates me. So many people and so many things, and that I'm constantly kind of pushed by and motivated by that keep going.
Cool. And slightly off topic. I guess you're considered a new wife, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to be taught how to be a wife?
I love this topic, and because I've been so blessed with such an amazing stepmom and aunties that have taken me on as their own, I have had, it's made me look at, because as a woman you worry, right? Like, am I going to be able to do all of these things? Am I going to be enough? Am I going to still be able to keep who I am and still maintain me? So those are worries that you have, and marrying an African man is Congolese. There are traditions and processes that you have to go through, and being Caribbean, we've lost a lot of that. And I was desperately trying to find just like parts of processes that I could sort of incorporate into the wedding, and there weren't many, unfortunately. I suppose we had such a short space of time, I didn't have enough time to do the research I needed to, but we got the day we got us, I couldn't move in straight away because as a wife, you're meant to be married, free live your husband. So just even that process, like, knowing that you've just, put money in the house that you can't live in was just insane. But you then get an appreciation for, the culture and the importance of that. The whole wedding process in terms of the union of the families, it wasn't just about me and him, it was about our families coming together. Right. So that, and just the some of the processes around the dowry and my parents, bless them, they're like, we're not asking these parents for money, like, we're not doing that. But they had to, type thing. And, just kind of learning about the importance of that in terms of culture. And then the wedding, we had the wedding, but I wasn't allowed to move in until the day after because the family have to be at the house to welcome me into my new home. They cooked for me. So, all of the different processes around that. And then I think the most special part for me was on that, the evening that I moved in, the auntie sat me down. And they just spoke to me about what it means to be a wife. And it wasn't a conversation I knew I even needed, but I think is one that will live with me forever. One that I now know I have to have with my daughter and every, other young person that I come across that's going to embark on that sort of journey. And, it was just, knowing that the support was there, knowing that, you don't have to have all the answers, knowing that you are going to make mistakes and that's okay, but it's a process and it's a journey. And it's a privilege as well. And how you should, sort of wear that with pride. And, you then enter into sort of a new league of women now. It's like, now you're no longer a girl, you are now a wife, you're a woman, like, with us now. And I really felt that. And so it's been a really nice transition in the journey for me. I didn't sort of, and not that I didn't want to sort of getting married and then getting on with married life after that, but I think going through the processes that I did has made me really sort of appreciate being a wife so much more. And
I guess because Jenny, you're a leader, would you say that you had any reservations about submitting or anything like that?
Yes and no. I know how I am. So from very early on, I made sure that the conversations, with my now husband, were had so that he knew what my expectations were, and vice versa, right? I have my own business. It's not a 9 to 5. It's a 24/7 sometimes, and cooking and cleaning and doing everything that you may have seen your mum do, or other women do. I may not be able to do all of them.
You'll pay for the cleaner.
Well, it's a bit, and it's so funny. The first date we ever had, and I always used to do this, sort of when dating, and I used to be like, right, so I want a cook, a cleaner, and a gardener, and I would just sit there and see kind of how they would react to that. And I think he laughed. I think maybe choked on his food or whatever. But I'm not joking. And he's like, all right. But you know, I made it very, very clear, because I know that, you know, I just, the importance of presence and being there, and being able to bring my full self to any situation, I think is very, very important to me. Life is so short, you never know what's going to happen at any given time. And if I'm operating from, you know, like a half empty cup, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm trying to do all of these things, like I'm not going to be the best version of myself, right? So yeah, like we're going to need to get a cleaner, we're going to need to get a chef one day, and we're going to need to just have, you know, there's going to be some give and take. So I do cook most of the time, but the kitchen's closed on the weekends because I'm not doing that. So yeah, it works really, really well, and I think that was another thing as well. I think a lot of people, you know, as you do, you kind of ask, oh gosh, how is it? But it was more from a place of, has it happened yet? Do you hate each other yet? Are you ready to break up yet? And yes, okay, it's not, you know, quite been a year yet, but it's not felt any different from sort of how it was before. Have
married people ask you that question?
Yeah.
Really?
Honestly, wow. And it's been so weird. And I was speaking to one of my aunts about it, and she was just like, why would people ask you that? And she was, you know, really upset by it. And I think, you know, as a new wife, you don't know what people are going to ask you, right? Like, it's just maybe part and parcel of what you get asked. But yeah, I get asked that a lot. And I think just in terms of like the people we are, we're very big on communicating and talking, you know, and carving out intentional time for us to have conversations about how we're thinking, we're feeling. If you don't like something, do it like that. So there's really no room for like disagreements or arguments, or there's nothing ever that's pent up because we've not spoken about it, right? So it genuinely has been plain sailing, and I can't foresee anything that's going to happen where, I mean, you never know, right? But where communication is a priority for both of us, and we're very committed to making sure that the other one is seen and heard. Like, what really can go wrong? And I may be saying that very, you know, there might be some people who watch this and be like, oh, she's naive, she hasn't got a clue, she's new into this. But genuinely, yeah, like it has been laughs the whole way through since then. And yeah, don't get me wrong, like if he's not washed the dishes properly, you know, a few good times, you know, I'm going to get frustrated and annoyed, but it's also about understanding what you can control, and how I handle situations, and taking responsibility for my actions, and vice versa. You know, he's very mindful of how he speaks and how he comes across, just as I have to be. And it was funny the other day. I know we're going off topic, but you know, the other day I had lost my braces randomly in the house, and I was searching for him frantically, and he had his friends down watching football, and I came down and I was like, did you move that tissue that was there? And his friend was like, hey, like, who are you talking to? Like that type thing. And it was, you know, we all laughed, but it was like, I need to, like, as much as I'm in my own head, like, looking for what I've lost, I still need to be mindful about how I speak to, you know, my husband type thing. And, you know, those types of reminders are necessary, and sometimes they're like, oh, okay, like, but they're good to kind of keep you, you know,
accountable.
To just making sure that you have that level of respect, and vice versa. You know, like if if he's unhappy about something, he'll say, and if I'm unhappy about something, you know, we make sure that we do have that conversation. But I think that's what has made it so easy. And you know, I think the whole thing about sort of black love, right? And you know, I often say when speaking to my friends who, you know, are married now and, you know, who are going through the process, that I feel like we've been sold a lie with that. You know, like it always came across as a very negative thing. You know, it was more of sort of a sort of not a business relationship, but, you know, it wasn't, you didn't really see the love in that, or you felt, or you were told that, you know, it wasn't kind of how things were gonna go, right? Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of it being a nice, harmonious, you know, sort of fairy tale ending. And for my friends that have been married, I've got some that have been married for, you know, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, some newlywed. Like, it's not like that for them. You know, it's very easy. It's very beautiful to watch and observe. they've become better people as a result of, you know, that partnership.
Yeah.
Their kids are happy and flourishing, and yeah, like, it's just been such a beautiful experience.
Yeah. I mean, for us, one of the best things we did when we got married, we waited, I think it was 4 years until we had our first child.
Yeah.
Because we were able to learn from one another.
Yeah, yeah.
And just kind of enjoy life. Because I've had friends that have had kids way younger than, I think I was 26 when I got married. So younger than that.
Yeah.
And I think by the time I had Nia, I was probably 32. So I couldn't have imagined having a child younger because I just wouldn't have been ready.
Yeah.
And I was too selfish in terms of running the business to have had a child anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And it's okay to be selfish as well because you have to prepare yourself for that responsibility. But you mentioned kind of like your friends and your whole friendship circle. Are they fellow business owners as well?
No, actually. No. You know, all doing amazing in their own right. Lawyers, we have like consultants, we have like just a whole range of like professionals that are doing amazing in their own right, and equally, you know, they're still very like, they motivate and inspire me in terms of them being at the top of their field, the things they're achieving, things that they're doing, you know, within, you know, their sort of work world, you know, always amazes me and keeps us going, you know. So we have some really good old conversations about, you know, different things, and even though, you know, they may not necessarily understand the day-to-day challenges that I and Jay go through sort of in business, just in terms of, I guess, life, right? You know, they're amazing people to have around to kind of make sure that, I get through as successfully as I can.
Yeah. And like, what would you say is your role in your friendship group? Are you like the funny one, the organizer?
It's so funny. So Jay actually just got married at the weekend, and as bridesmaids, we were like, it was the first time in a long time we've all kind of got together, and we, like, no kids, it was just girls doing us, right? And they were like, oh, Jane, can you do this? Jane, can you do that? Because I'm, again, very creative, right? So I saw my bridesmaid's dress and I was just like, that slit is not high enough. So I got that taken all the way up. Everyone saw my dress, like, oh my gosh, I need to do that. So me and my sister were there, like, taking slits up, sewing, doing people's hair. Obviously, I had the hair business, so doing people's hair. Then we had to do the entrance dance. We hadn't quite practiced and rehearsed. They were like, Jane, just go and do your thing at the front type thing. So I guess I'm that one that, you know, is kind of, I can do a little bit of everything. So I'm always going to make sure that anyone who has any need, I've got it done. And if I don't know, I'm going to make sure that, you know, you've got someone who can do that for you.
So a leader in every
I guess. Yeah. But, I'm going to own that and accept it. I guess that not in, like, they're all, and that's the thing, like, they're all such strong women in their own right, right? They lead in, you know, sort of their own capacities. But I think in terms of, like some of them will tell you, like, we're just not creative. If there's anything creative, go and speak to Jen. If there's anything business related, go and speak to Jen. You know, so it just, that was the kind of nature of the day, and everyone needed something doing that I could do. So I was kind of like, right, what do you need type thing. But equally, like, when I need something that, you know, I can't do, I know who to pick up the phone to. So
cool.
So,
and so you've done Hustle and Heels. You've had the Hair ID brand, which isn't running no more, right?
No. So we stopped that.
Then you've done guest speaking. Was it at the UK Black Business?
Yeah. So I've done. So started to build up a bit of a personal brand. So doing a bit more speaking. You know, facilitating, hosting. We hosted the Black Investor 360 event at the Excel earlier on in this year. It was amazing as well. A bit of that as well.
So like, of all, well, firstly, what do you do on a day off?
Day off. Okay. What do I do on a day? And it's interesting you ask that, because I have a coach, and you know, she said to me, like, what does Jen do? I said, well, work, you know. And she said, no, but what do you do for you? And yeah, I don't do much, but I have started skating.
Okay.
So that will be, that's, sort of the thing. Like, I used to play netball, but again, like just the time. I think it's so hard when you are a business owner. This is everything, everything's all in one, but I enjoy it, right? In terms of like the balance is the fact that I get to work and, be present at home at the same time, right? I get to have like a really big business meeting and go and sit down and have a play fight with my husband. I get to, do you know what I mean? I get to do, the both of, sort of life and business, in one. And I keep speaking about the importance of presence, and I think that's the way that I create that balance, right? By being very present in any given situation that I'm in. It may be, 10 minutes here or 15 minutes or an hour. But whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm going to make sure that I'm enjoying it. To kind of make the most of it.
Okay.
But yeah, skating something that I picked up, not great yet. Spend most of the time on the floor, but that's something fun. I'm quite active, so I do sort of my 30 minutes max exercise a day, but I'll do swimming twice a week, 30 minutes of swimming, boxing, Pilates, so yeah.
Well, from all the projects that you're kind of juggling, what's been the most inspirational that you've worked on?
Gosh, there's so many. And I think because of the nature of what we do, right, in terms of helping like women who feel that they have no idea, find the idea and find the steps that they need to take to move forward in business. It could be a conversation, it could be a coaching call, it could be a workshop we've delivered, and you just seeing that breakthrough, seeing that light bulb, seeing people being able to progress and move forward with their business when they felt that they were just up against all the walls and couldn't move forward. That for me is the highlight of what I do. I don't think there's any sort of like one big occasion. It's very personal and individual to the given people that we sort of work with, and it happens quite often in terms of like the hearing about the impact we do. We're still very sort of involved in speaking to the community and because we're business owners, like we're entrepreneurs ourselves, and by nature you still network, you still go out, so you're constantly speaking to other business owners, and those you come across that have benefited in some way from the Hustle and Hills community, the workshops we do, the programs that we run, that is what really kind of makes what I do worthwhile.
Okay, cool. And in the future, what would people expect to see from Jen?
I think, being a business training and support organisation, it's great, giving people the tools and resources that they need to start businesses, right? To grow successful businesses and sustainable businesses that, it is great. But I also think it's about creating opportunities for business owners to be great in what they do, right? To have better exposure to sell to people that they may not necessarily be able to get in front of, by themselves. So one of the things that we're doing at the moment is we partnered with the UK Black Business Show, and we've covered the cost of 5 exhibition stands for 5 women from within the community. And we're going to give the space to them for free, right? So these are business owners that typically wouldn't be able to afford the cost of, a stand, but could be game changing for them. And it's, those opportunities that we want to be able to create more of. And I think it's that when coupled with the support, the tools and the resources, that's where you really begin to see the change happening, and people achieving success in their own right and going on to big and greater things. So definitely more opportunities. We are about to launch a campaign to help 1,000 women start businesses with up to and under £1,000. All the businesses that I've started, I've bootstrapped with less than £1,000, so we know it's possible. And giving women the sort of access to resources and support to be able to do that.
So Jen, we're just going to finish up by just going through some quick A or B questions. Audi or Mercedes?
Mercedes?
Okay. Coming to America 1 or coming to America 2?
Oh. I don't know. I can't remember. I only because, and I hate getting caught out with films and stuff. I'm the worst person. Like, I genuinely can't remember if I've seen them. I know.
Okay. Okay. All right. Beyonce or Whitney?
Oh, Beyonce.
iPhone or Android?
Android all day.
Okay. A lifetime supply of makeup or lifetime supply of hair products?
Ooh. Makeup. I think, yeah.
Makeup? Okay.
Yeah.
R&B or Afrobeats?
I think R&B is one of the best memories I've had to R&B. Yeah.
A super well-paid job with a toxic environment, or a low-paid job and it feels like heaven every day?
Low paid all day.
Okay. Fish and chips or rice and peas or jerk chicken?
Rice and peas without the jerk chicken just because I don't eat meat.
Okay.
Yes.
Call the Midwife or Love Island?
Call the Midwife.
Alright. A romantic trip in Paris or holiday Maldives?
Maldives, I've been to Paris.
Okay. And final one, heels or trainers?
Oh, I'm going to say heels because I hustle in heels, but there's definitely room for trainers.
Cool. Well, awesome. Thank you for your time, Jen. We'll include all of your links in the description below, and it's been great to hear your story.
Thank you.